Hey guys, Mark the Golf Addict back again. If you watched my last video from earlier this week on what's in the bag, told you I'd make a video on my new putter. It is a Cobra. I'm going to try to pronounce it Agera, A-G-E-R-A. This is a new putter by Cobra. 41 inches long, arm lock, designed to put the grip, or the excess grip up against your left arm there, your lead arm. You can hold it standard or left hand low, whatever's convenient for you. This takes the wrist out of it. A little bit about the putter. It's got the SICK putter face. So Cobra and SICK Golf, it's S-I-K, got together and they did a little collab on this putter. And it's got 4 different degrees of loft. And we'll get into that here in a few, but it's a 3D printed head. So they've got an internal structure that's been 3D printed. It's supposed to help with the MOI and making this putter far more forgiving. And extremely excited. The snow's only a couple weeks away from being totally gone and golf season being here, which is an exciting time of year for me. So stay tuned and we'll get into it.
All right, guys, so we're going to talk about the SICK putter face. The way you can kind of see, we'll zoom in a little bit on this. See these little lines in here? What those lines are actually a separation in loft. Now, what do I mean by that? So your top part here has 4 degrees of loft. Then you go underneath that, you've got 3, 2, and then 1 right here on the bottom. Now, why is that important? Well, we'll take the club, we'll put it on its profile, and as you can see, if you lean the shaft forward, you're taking loft off. Obviously, I'm doing this successively for a point. So the more loft you take off, the more loft the face needs to have. The less loft, let's say you were hitting the ball on a super ascending angle, that's why you have the 1 degree of loft at the bottom and the 4 at the top. So with the excessive forward shaft lean, you would need the more loft. If you had like a neutral one, you'd want the 2 to 3. The whole point is you don't want to hit the ball downward into the ground because that's how you get the skips and the hops and an inconsistent speed control. So what SICK Golf did is they invented this varying loft face, and then they made a collab with Cobra. Pretty neat, and I'll get into why this is an important thing, especially when you're talking an arm lock putter.
All right, guys, so we just went over why there's the SICK putter face with 4 different degrees of loft, depending on where on the face you hit it. So you're probably thinking, okay, who cares, and why in the world does that make sense? Well, I'm going to show you what I found now with the arm lock putter. I'm going to put a standard grip on it for an arm lock. So I got my right hand or my trailing arm below my lead arm. And as you can see, there's a fair amount of forward shaft lean there. And what I'm seeing right now as the player, I'm seeing the trail end of the putter lift off the ground ever so slightly, but nonetheless, it is clearly a forward shaft lean. So now let's just say I like to putt left hand low, or that works for me better, and I'm going to do that. Now, what I'm seeing as a player is the club is more flatly soled. The trail end is not off the ground at all. And as you can see, the shaft is pretty much straight up and down. So why does this matter? Well, because I don't want to, again, dive the ball into the ground or push the ball into the ground, because that's going to cause it to hop, skip, and jump and cause inconsistent speed control, which is one of the top 2 things in putting. Speed control in the start line. You got to have it starting on line, but you got to have the speed right, or else your line doesn't matter. I have not figured out what is for me, but I have figured out what is not for me with this so far. If I go with a standard grip, which I really enjoy because I like to putt that way with a traditional putter, I found I have to really get that ball almost off my left foot and kind of get a little lean back to the right, just like you would with a driver. The reason is, if I do that, I can sole that putter flat, and I can make a nice stroke, and then they generally stay aligned. Like that one was pretty good, just about a foot short on this 18-foot putt I'm hitting. If I go with my traditional ball position, which is a little inside, probably off the left pec, I feel like I have too much shaft lean. I feel with that head, and I'll show you a video here of that in a minute, I feel with that, the trail end or the back end of the head off the ground, that it's actually tough for me to align properly. Now that's more of an optic issue, and you might be different, but this is what I'm finding. So now I've got the traditional grip, traditional ball position, and I just don't feel like that one was nearly as good, although it was a better putt than the first one. If I go with the left hand low now, I just feel way more stable, and I don't feel like I have to make any modifications versus the standard grip. So I need to do some more toying around with it, but what I am loving is there is no flippy wrist stuff going on. I'll grab a regular putter here. This is an Odyssey I have laying around, and I know my putter head's cut off in this video and you can't see it, but it's kind of by design. I don't want you to pay attention to the head. I want you to pay attention to the wrist. I'm going to obviously over exaggerate this, but you'll all understand what I'm talking about. See how the wrist went forward? The head outraced the hands. So from this angle, the head went like this. Now I was trying to do that, but unfortunately, I'm not on tour, and this is partly why, because I am one of the world's worst putters. But this is no good, and a lot of amateurs have an issue with it. So how do you eliminate it? Well, that's the point of the arm lock. So if I have that up against my arm, just like so, it is so hard to flip. Now, let's say you're not putting any thought into it. Could you flip? So it's up against my arm. Yeah, I can still flip, but you put the conscious thought of pressing that up against that forearm, and you want to leave it there, and no matter what I do, as long as I think about having that butt of the grip into that forearm, I can't flip. I have inadvertently had a slight disconnect while practicing with this putter, but again, it comes down to you have to focus on that pressure. And I'm not talking you're squeezing the living daylights out of it. I'm just talking you feel it there, and you want to feel it there the whole stroke. And what I found is that occasional disconnection that I was finding, the more and more I practice with it, which I'm telling you, I've only put in maybe 10 hours of putting with this thing so far, just getting ready for the season, and I have quickly figured out how easy it is to apply that pressure. And you can literally just focus on that watch. You know, I got a little Fitbit on here, but you can focus on that now, and that is equivalent to your face. I've got a nice flat left wrist, and it just stays there now. There is no flippiness whatsoever in that wrist. It just stays connected because this butt of the grip up against the forearm, again, is key to why this works. So we're going to give you a little demonstration on where we are from a dispersion standpoint, and I've done this test over and over and over again, and it always comes out that I have the best dispersion with the arm lock versus the standard.
All right, guys, I made this side-by-side photo for you to take a look at. As you can see on the left, the first photo is of a left-hand low at address, followed by left-hand low at impact. The third photo is a standard grip, and then a standard grip at impact would be the final photo. Reason I wanted to do this was to show you the shaft lean, and if you also look down at the head, you can also see the rear end of the club off the ground versus being flat. So this is why I wanted to show you the shaft angle.
All right, guys, we are going to go with 4 putts each, 4 with the traditional, 4 with the arm lock, and we're going to see the dispersion patterns from 10 feet. Now, I've done this test probably 30, 40 times already, and I can already tell you, I know what's going to happen. We're going to start out with our traditional putter and just show you a little bit of my horrible traditional putting skills. That one ran about 2 feet past. Again, we're from 10 feet right now. 2 feet past on the right. That's about maybe 6 to 8 inches past on the left. About 8 inches past on the left. And I am trying to hold these guys. I am, believe it or not, that bad of a putter with a traditional putter. And we got lucky and made one. Moving on to the Armlock putter now. Just barely to the right, a little short. That's on me though. Other one got in the way, but basically the same line, a little bit more speed. Might have gone in. And actually, the problem with this is it does break a little right to left. Now we hit that one firm. It caught the left edge. And that one is left edge, but short. So this is not about skill or anything like that, guys. What we're trying to demonstrate is, let's look at the dispersion. I'll bring this camera up here for a second. I want you to look at the dispersion here. We had a total of 8 putts, 4 with each putter. We made 1 with the traditional. We sent the two left, 1 in and 1 long right. What I want you to know is look at how narrow the dispersion is with an Armlock putter. I just find this to be very interesting, and obviously I need to do some more work on my putting, but I find this phenomenal because it's giving me a better start line. So if I can get my speed right, I'm not going to have any issues with hitting my line, or I'll have at least less issues than what I already do. Well, guys, what I want to leave you with here is I'm still a horrible putter. But what I hope you noticed, and again, this was not the first time I've done that, the dispersion, and you should look at this with every club in your bag, but with a putter, it's obviously super important because you're trying to hit a 4 1/4 inch hole. My dispersion with an Armlock has probably cut in half. And when I'm talking dispersion, for those of you who aren't super into the golf nerdiness like I am, that's your area of miss. So, for example, your driver might be a 60-yard wide area of miss or dispersion. Your putter, you need to shrink that down to as tight as possible. For me, no joke, like I said, 30-40 test, exactly the same. I've done it with 8 balls, I've done it with 4 balls, I've done it with a lot of different putts. And it's just every single time it ends with about half the dispersion. I think I'm going from a good dispersion about, 1.5 feet, 2 foot, down to probably about a 8, 16-inch area. That's huge when it comes to putting. If you can get the ball started more on line, more often, you're automatically going to make more putts. The next thing you have to do after that is get the speed right. In closing, if you're struggling with having a wrist issue like I am, where you get flippy with it and it closes and opens the face, again, that's what happens when you get wristy. The wrist will make the club point in different directions. You can twist it, you can flip it, you can do all these things. You lock that sucker into your arm, there is no flipping, it's just the stroke. However you want to stroke it, with your arms, your torso, a little shoulder tilt, whatever you use, you can't flip this thing. This is a key. I think this is going to help my game out big time this year, and I'm very excited. I strongly suggest you guys go out there, give this a try at your local shop, and see what it does for you. I had spent weeks going to my local golf shop and playing on the simulator there during the winter. Every time I picked this thing up, I was draining putts, and my misses were so tight compared to a standard putter that I'm like, I got to give this a go. Happy I did. Excited for the new season to come out, guys, and finally get out of this long sleeves and pants stuff, get into some shorts and be out in the sunshine in the golf course. So definitely strongly suggest you get yourself a Armlock putter if you're struggling like I am. And I tell you, this feels just as good as any other name brand putter, whether it be a Scotty or a Bettinardi. They're all different, and everyone's got their own unique preference. But as far as an Armlock, guys, I love it. I'm sticking to it. My dispersion is going to be tight, and I should be making more putts. I'll see you guys next time.